Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want dawah partners, and you can be my dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.
A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way.
The wise old owl says we all need guidance in our life. So remember, get guided with Guide Us TV.
And we're coming to you from our waiting room right here in the doctor's offices. And yeah, it's because we do have the doctors with us. We have no patients here. And that's typical of me anyway. I don't have enough patience. I need sabr. So if you guys will pray for me to have more patience, more sabr, inshallah, this will work out good. Now, tonight we have some very special announcements about a lot of health issues going on in the world, something that the FDA has come up with, and some things about women that I really want to ask some questions about. Some women are out there, and this is going crazy. Also about the relief for the refugees that are trying to get in or out of the countries and so on. Haiti is on top of the subject. Also, yeah, we are loaded. So tonight we want some answers. We have 2 eminent doctors. What does eminent mean anyway? But anyway, you know, we've got these.
Well, 2 humble doctors.
Yeah, real humble doctor. He just said, "Hey, I'm humble." Okay, all right, that's. Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, so this is what we got going on tonight, guys. And in order to do this, let's bring in the first doctor, the Mr. Humble himself. Here is is Dr. Adol in Florida. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. How are you?
Alaikum salam. When we were kids watching Adam's World, you know,
Yeah.
and one of the episodes was the humble servant, you know, of God and Adam, you know, and it was talking about how initially this guy was so arrogant and show off and all that, and then when he learned the lesson to be humble, you know, he transformed. So we all want to stay humble. That's important quality.
Well, Allah keep all of us humble, and without any serious damage to our personalities.
Yeah.
All right, mashallah. Well, and we do have another doctor with us tonight, a very special doctor to me. I love him very much for sake of Allah. And let's bring him out right now. We
I think he
have.
went for a prayer.
Oh, he went for. Let me just show you another empty waiting room. See there? Okay. So this is not the only empty waiting room here. When the doctors decide that they're going to be gone, well, they just take off. Oh, yeah, and that is, that's something humble. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the problems that we're facing here in America right now in the United States. I wanted to be sure, Dr. Otto, that I wanted to tell our audience not to use the term America for the United States, because that is so wrong. There are many different parts of America that are being blamed right along with us for things that the U.S. has done or not done. And I would like to clarify that Canada is America, Mexico is America, Central America, hello, that's the name of it, Central America, because it's in the center of the Americas. And then the southern part is called South America. North America, South America, Central America, you get that? Okay. Please, guys, do separate this out. And whenever you're talking about something that the U.S. did or didn't do, say U.S., don't say all of America. And don't blame all the Americans for what the United States is trying to do. And also, I think if we do have any good credit coming, still you should kind of point in the right direction. All right. That being said, Dr. Otto, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
The FDA, I have heard that they've done some real miraculous work coming up with approvals or so on, but it's limited. Could you tell us anything about that, if that's correct or not?
Sure. There was a big discussion among the FDA panelists and reviewers whether or not to give the mRNA vaccine to a booster dose to all the general population, or just reserve this to subcategories that will prove to benefit from it, because the other group, which is a low and medium risk, the data are borderline. They haven't been validated, and there's no evidence to support that. But the evidence is clear and has been published in New England Journal of Medicine and others about the benefit of booster dose in people who have, for instance, after solid organ transplant, those who have weakened immune system because of whatever the issue is, of either cancer, HIV, chronic steroid therapy for autoimmune disease, or connective tissue disease. So those, and above, people with chronic disease above age of 65. All these are groups that would benefit. So the final panel came on Friday, that news, which I believe is very appropriate and well targeted to those who will benefit from the booster dose. Till we have the rest of the world actually have data, at least from the primary vaccination. There's a lot of people who didn't take the first and second dose to start with. So we're kind of ahead of the game, ahead of ourselves, and jumping onto the third, booster dose without verifying the data on the primary vaccination in the first place. In the meantime, while coronavirus pandemic is going around in full speed, and now we're going into the fourth wave, going into the fall and the winter, there are a lot of other...
Okay, that was my next question. I wanted to ask you, now I want to review a little bit about what you just said, though. So the FDA has approved the booster shot for certain categories. And if you're not in that category, the question is, well, what do I do? Am I supposed to just hang on, or what?
Just make sure you get the primary vaccination first, the first 2 doses. There are still people out there who didn't get vaccinated in the first place. The first, 2 doses, whether it's Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, the mRNA vaccine. Those are the two that have shown both safety and efficacy. So profile, which is very good, and does appear to be superior compared to others.
Okay, now another question related to that before we move on is the question about Moderna versus Pfizer. Which of the two has the highest percentage of success in preventing the COVID disease, and which of them has the highest success rate of if somebody does get it after the shots, because I've heard that there are those who are getting the disease even though they've had the shots. So, which is the better of the two, percentage-wise, as far as the least amount of inconvenience or suffering that a person would have to be engaged in?
Well, both of them are very comparable. They're the same technology, mRNA based technology. So that's given. There are some certain logistics different between the two in terms of the degree, minus 20 for Moderna and minus 70 for Pfizer. But the most recent report said while the efficacy of the Pfizer vaccine have dropped down a little bit from 90 to 66%, especially with the Delta variant of coronavirus. The Moderna has maintained a high level of antibodies more than 6 months out. So this is a good report that just been published recently that would suggest that this is a longer lasting immune boosting effect of Moderna, and also has a less incidence of getting serious hospitalization, intubation, compared to Pfizer. They both work very well, but Moderna is a small in number compared to Pfizer.
So the Pfizer here in America, I'm just talking about here, I did the same thing, didn't I? Here in the United States, here in the United States, as far as the two major distributions, Moderna and Pfizer, which one would be the better for an elder person or somebody with a compromised immune system?
So far, Pfizer is the one that was granted the FDA approval. Moderna is to follow soon within a week or two, according to most recent reports.
Okay, now another question, and this is very close to home for me, that the FDA has approved Pfizer. Is that true or false?
Yes, approved. Pfizer is approved.
Okay, and when did that occur?
About maybe 3 weeks or so. Got the final FDA approval.
Okay, and then these suspicions, or what do they call it? The stories that people are circulating with the suspicions in it.
Misinformation.
Yeah, disinformation. Thank you so much. Those conspiracy theories or disinformation they've added something else to it, and that's telling people that don't get the vaccine because there is something inside of it that causes sterilization and a person would not be able to have children. Is there any way that we can verify that that is not true?
Let Dr. Sultan, he's back from prayer.
Yes, he is. All right.
So I'll let him take a shot at this.
Okay, Dr. Sultan, we do have a very serious question here. And the reason that I'm asking this is because there are people that I know personally who are abstaining from taking this vaccine, although it's been presented to them for free from Pfizer, and it's just a matter of take their children in and get the shots. But they're saying that the FDA has not approved it, and we just heard that it's been approved for almost a month. by the FDA. They're also saying that if you get the shot, that there's something in it that causes sterilization. Is there any way that we can know for sure that the FDA has approved it and know for sure that there is nothing like that in there, or is there?
Very good question, very loaded question. First of all, I mean, it is all in the news that FDA has approved. So this has gone through a process, not just one night or one morning, FDA woke up and says approved. It went through emergency approval, then it went through numerous trials and studies. And after all those things, it's just recently, 3 weeks ago, that the FDA approved the vaccination. Now, it is very difficult to bring up anything that say that COVID vaccine will not make your nose longer or your eyelashes drop, and on and on. So similarly, you cannot keep on going and proving that it cannot do this. That's going to be an endless chapter. So first we have to understand is what is the evidence there that COVID vaccine can cause sterility. I know of no evidence what is that it can cause sterility. So in lack of evidence, as the studies will go on, we may find out that the sperm count goes down or whatever. But as of right now, we don't have any evidence that it has any adverse effect on the reproductive system, neither of a man or not of a woman. And moreover, see, the problem in here is since we started approving for age 65 and above, well, both men and women have lost their ability to reproduce anyway. So this is a moot question. Now, coming to the younger generation, well, so far we don't have any evidence, but we are always willing to look at, if you have some evidence, whosoever are putting out this disinformation, big us, and we will look at with an open mind and study it openly and see what we come up with.
All right. And so these two questions that we're saying now is that, first of all, the solid evidence is there that FDA has approved this, and if anybody would like to check that out, they can just go to the internet, call their local doctor, and find out the answer to the FDA approval. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Very, very simple.
We also heard while you were away from Dr. Adel that there has been an approval of the booster for the elder generations and also for those who have compromised immune system. I don't know if that includes people that are on the front line dealing with this, but do you have any comment about that?
Yes. FDA always does things with abundance of caution. So therefore, there's no doubt about it that the immunity wanes and we need to give the booster. Now, FDA so far has approved it only for people over the age of 65. But in reality, anybody, even the healthy people, can get the vaccine. It's only the matter of availability, that do we have enough vaccine to go along and vaccinate or give the booster shots to everybody. But from my knowledge and from the knowledge of people in infectious disease that I respect, it is their opinion that anybody, except the children, when it's not approved, any adult age 16 or above can get a booster shot. All you have to do is just go to your local pharmacy and say, I want a shot. Let's say you have both shots. And It's been about 8 months that you had the second shot. Just go ahead and ask for it. That's all what you have to do.
All right. So I think that pretty much answers the questions that we had about that. I do appreciate the fact that you guys will humor me to the extent of going into details on these questions, because we do have people who are really seriously concerned about these two things. Number one, the FDA approval was not there in the beginning, when we know that that doesn't happen for usually for years for something. And I personally remember going through that with one of my stepbrothers. He had come up with something that his studies about overcoming a sexually transmitted disease, and he had the formula, and they'd used it in some of the places out in Las Vegas where that, and anyway, they had found that the women that they tried that on, the disease had stopped and so on, and they submitted all of that, and I was thinking that this is a great deal because, and he said, oh no, it could take 5 to 10 years before you get the approval. I said, oh my God, why would you have to wait for that? They said, well, they want to run tests. It's not that they don't just rubber stamp something, give me $5 and I'll give the rubber stamp. That's not how it works. So I'm glad that you guys took the time to tell us about that.
Sure.
Thank you.
But by the way, it takes more than $5, okay, to get the approval.
Yeah, I know. We went through all of that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so well, he did get it approved finally, and a version of it, and yeah. But this is something very, very big to all of us, and I think that Dr. Adel had some more that he wanted to tell us about. Dr. Adel, please continue with what you were saying.
Well, thank you so much. Well, we're still talking about the main topic, which is coronavirus, its variants, and vaccination. There's a lot of hidden epidemics. So there's corona pandemic, but out of this, since this happened, a lot of epidemics are growing, which has been an increasing number of people with new diseases and new serious health, hazards have been on the rise. Number one is a childhood obesity and general public obesity epidemic that started with the coronavirus. Now, with the lockdown, people at home, nobody's going out exercising, nobody's physically active. So most people have put weight, and now this has translated to increased risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, strokes, obstructive sleep apnea, and premature death. This is a given, and of course pain that comes along with it. There is another epidemic with sexually transmitted diseases. Unfortunately, during the epidemic, again, the lockdown, limited activities, and so on and so forth, then there is a surge in the sexually transmitted diseases that nobody or very few people are talking about it. And now we're seeing the effects, unfortunately, in the newborn. Now we have newborn that's infected with syphilis, which is supposed to be something from the past. And of course, this will have serious neurologic damage to the newborn, among other complications from this, unfortunately infected mom that passes on the infection, from sexually transmitted disease. We also, need to include chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, and of course, the syphilis and others. But this is definitely on the rise, and now it's being recorded in a very rising way. Third epidemic is alcoholism. Alcoholism is increasing in a very, very alarming rate, consumption among new consumers like middle-aged females. This is because of a lot of factors have to do with mental stress, loneliness, social isolation, and economic also downfall that is happening concomitantly with coronavirus. There is a fourth epidemic about drug abuse, and we're not talking only about marijuana, but we're talking about all opioid narcotics, and people are just going into drug abuse because whether to numb their pain or for an opioid or to basically escape all the adversities that's concomitant concomitantly happening with the coronavirus, like economic distress, loss of job, and so on and so forth. And because of that, and I know in September, which is National Suicide Prevention Month, suicide epidemic that has increased. And believe it or not, I think it was September 18th was the National Suicide Awareness, Physician Awareness Month in the U.S. And there's a lot of increased incidence of suicide among young Black teenagers, girls, and among other populations as well across the board. Not only like people say they have PTSD or veterans, but the suicide epidemic is definitely on the rise.
Okay, Doctor,
Then
now here's some questions that have come up already about this topic. You're talking about suicides now. All right. Not too long ago, we reported on our program with you guys and us that there were an increased number of suicide attempts by Muslim youth, to the extent that they became the number one religion in the United States for this kind of attempts. Can you elaborate a bit on that, and what is the cause? What is we're seeing on that, and is it still the truth, or is it the Black teenagers are more or less, and that's not even fair because we have a tremendous amount of Black teenagers who are Muslims. So
Absolutely.
How do we deal with that?
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely, as you know, the statistics have proven, and finally, people are start to talk about it. So it's not and should not be hushed any further. And now we have to face it on with appropriate measures, to help engage young Muslims and others who go through tough times. To number one, to prevent social isolation that unfortunately is a part of the pandemic. Number two is a 5-step therapy plan which I prepared, especially for the Muslim ones.
You're saying a 5-step plan. Now, if you're
a therapy
if you're
for the Muslim youth.
Okay, now if you're going to offer that right now, I want us to be sure that we go through each step and like 1
Absolutely.
and 2
Sure.
and 3 carefully, so we don't
Sure.
have.
I'm going to say it and then also mention the verse that actually confirms it and reference it. Number one, reading the Quran. Reading the Quran has a therapeutic effect on the body.
Is
and the
that
heart
in the
and mind.
Quran that reading it will help you?
Absolutely. وَكَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتْ بِهِ
Where I want to put
This
it
is
up on the screen.
this is in I think Surah Yusuf.
Yusuf is
and
number
then
12.
towards the end. Yusuf towards the end of the Surah Yusuf.
Do you have
Allah
any number for me at all?
Okay, I'm gonna just say them, and then after that, I think I can give you the exact number.
Well, if you do that, that's backwards because I can't show anything.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So the whole concept of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentioning stories in the Quran that to affirm the heart of that's at the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he was not there during those events, but the fact that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is mentioning those stories. The last one in Surah Yusuf, ayah 111. So the last one in Surah Yusuf 111. That when you read the Quran, there's a lot of stories that will affirm the heart and will give a lot of soothing and comfort knowing what happened to the people before us, and the people of the book, the Torah, the Bible, the Gospel, and so on. And then
we can
a continuation.
we can
111, the last verse in Surah
yeah,
Yusuf.
I'm just asking.
لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب ما كان حديثا يفترى ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب ما كان حديثا يفترى ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون.
There was certainly in their stories a lesson for those of understanding. Never was the Quran a narration invented, but a confirmation of what was before it and a detailed explanation of all things and guidance and mercy for a people who believe.
All right, that is exactly beautiful to know.
So it's very clearly directed towards enhancing the faith, towards obviously calming the anxiety. And if there's other ayat, but obviously I'm just mentioning, that the Quran hudan wa shifa, guidance and cure. When somebody reads the Quran, I'm upset, I feel tired, I feel down, I feel anxious, I feel worried, I feel depressed. All this stuff. What is the therapy? Yeah. To make wudu and then rush to the Book of God and then have a session with the Creator through reading His words. That's a good, easy, free prescriptions that people can take, advantage of.
All right.
And then the second,
can I go ahead and put something up here that I use personally, and I would like to encourage our brothers and sisters to use this, and you can find it on Recite Quran. It's called recitequran.com. And then all you have to do after you get to recitequran.com, put the slash, the back / yeah, and then put the number 13 and then a colon and then 28 13:28, and you will see what I'm going to put up on the screen here. The Surah Ra'd, and it's verse 28. Let's listen to this and see if it makes you feel better.
الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب.
Now, I love that. That really, really cheers me up. And here's the translation for it. Here it is.
Those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah. Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. This really makes me feel good. Doctor, do you recommend this kind of thing as well?
Absolutely. I'm going to give the 5-step therapy, free therapy. So okay. Number 1 is Quran al-Karim, in Quran. Number 2, reading the seerah, or the stories about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his life, and all what he had went through since his birth till his passing away, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. God, peace and blessing be upon him, our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam, and all the stories of different prophets. And then, again, the whole, the same ayah that Allah is telling all the story about Prophet Joseph and all that. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't there. He didn't live during that time. But Allah gave him that story so that affirmed the heart, and knowing all what's going around since the day of creation of heaven and earth, and since Allah created Adam to the day of judgment. It's kind of repetition of the same stories of the people. That's maybe different angles or different scenarios, but it's basically the same message. But when you read the stories and learn about the stories of prophets, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will come as a very very strong to us, that will affirm our hearts. Number three, al-amal bil-ilm. If you have a knowledge, you have to apply it in real actions. So now we're taking precautions by putting the mask on, by social distancing, by improving hygiene and so on and so forth. So the Quran, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ فَعَلُوا مَا يُوعَظُونَ بِهِ لَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُمْ وَأَشَدُّ تَثْبِيتًا.
I would like to use that one for one of the issues that we have here personally. So if you don't mind, exactly where is this?
Yeah, I'll give it to you because I'm just kind of go over quickly, but I'll do that. Inshallah, I'll get it for you tomorrow.
Okay.
And then the number four. So it's very important. Whatever knowledge that you have, to translate into real actions. Number four, dua. True, sincere communication with Allah, asking and praying. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. This is the best, simplest dua that we ask Allah and every day during the 5 daily prayers, 17 times minimum a day, to ask God to guide us into sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path. Shortest distance between 2 points is the straight path. And ask God, dua, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used it, Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Oh Allah, you're the one who flips the heart, affirm the heart on your belief. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Sometimes people flip, liking, disliking, hate, this and that, and it could happen within a few seconds. And some people have this volatile emotions that they can go to two extremes in no time. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his dua is that, Ya muqallib al-qulub, oh Allah that flips the heart, make our heart affirm to your deen, the deen of Islam. And number five is the good company. And this is straight from Surah Al-Kahf, and you can pull this one up. Surah Al-Kahf, ayah number 28. واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريدون الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا. This is very powerful. Surah Al-Kahf, verses 28.
28, let's see what we have. Yes, we do have it. Let's put it up.
Surah Al-Kahf is 18:28.
قال لا تختصموا لدي وقد قدمت إليكم بالوعيد.
Okay, what is
No,
it?
this one, 28.
That is 28.
This is in Kahf. Kahf Surah 18, ayah 28.
I thought you said cough. 50. Okay, 18.
The other one is
28.
oh.
All right.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 18:28.
Okay. Well, it's not going to let me go there. The internet has
That's okay.
preferences, what it wants to do and what it doesn't want to do. So, yeah.
So basically, the translation for that, and keep yourself, like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, patiently, and hang on to them. To those who actually call their Lord, they're the one who should be hanging out with. The people who come to Fajr crew in the morning, at night, in the darks of the night where everybody else is asleep. Those are the people that you should be friend with, because they encourage each other to pray, to get closer to God, to do good deeds, and to focus on what is important and what is right, and then encourages you to do well and have a righteous lifestyle and continue to do good deeds in the morning, in Fajr and Isha, at the end of the day. Those are the two times that you look, and don't let your eyes overlook them. Always hang on to them, because they're the one who actually will guide you to Jannah and will get you into paradise in this good friendship. And subhanAllah, don't let any other distraction in life, don't let the glitter, the fame, the name, and the world distract you away from that. And obey not in those hearts who have made heedless, basically distracted by, all kinds of nonsense. But always stay focused with those people, and because those people will keep you on the straight path, will deviate you away from falling into lust and all the distractions of life that will make you, or anybody who fall into the category be a loser rather than a winner on the day of judgment.
Oh, mashallah. So we have all five covered now, right?
5-step therapy. And it's good for anybody who can try it, and that will help against atheism, against the shaitan, against the bad feelings that they go through when they're
So
living by
let's
themselves.
just name the five things. You said, first of all, the Quran.
The Quran, the Holy Quran. Read as much as you can, even if you cannot say in Arabic, but just read the meanings. That is a cure by itself.
Okay.
And Allah mentioned in Shifa, the word Shifa. Quran equals cure.
Yeah,
Number 2, reading the stories of prophets
Sirah.
and learn, including Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Number 3, to translate knowledge into action in your daily life. So yes, you follow up on the latest, instructions of what's happening on the status of the vaccination, things that prevent. Number 4, make sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask the prayer to Allah to guide you and keep us on the straight path. And number 5, have a good company that will help you and strengthen your faith and keep you on not distracted by any other, worldly distraction, but focus on, pleasing Allah.
Okay, I think we got all of that, and now it's way over time for a break, so we got to take this short break, and we'll be right back. And guys, here is how you can share and tell people different ways they can watch us. We have many opportunities on satellite, on Roku boxes and similar boxes, also on social media. So here are just a few.
Get connected with Guide Us TV. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/guideustv1. Join us on Google+, plus.google.com/+guideustv. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/guideustv1. Find us on Flickr, flickr.com/photos/guideustv, and add us on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/guideustv. Get guided with Guide Us TV.
And that's how you can watch us and how you can share this message of Islam with other folks. And we suggest that you make some notes of this and get that word out there, because we're doing these programs every single night. We have 2 nights, Mondays and Tuesdays, for the doctors to give us the updates on whatever is really happening with these viruses and other diseases and things that are going on, suicides, etc. So that is the big focus of what we're doing. The other 5 nights, we've got a call-in that you can call in with general questions, comments, etc., and you can talk about whatever you like. We're doing this every single night of the entire year. And I think that there's no other television station doing something like this. And especially without any advertising, without any ads, without any commercials, and without any kind of charges to anybody. We're making this free for the public. We'd like to encourage you to help us do this. If you'd like to donate, that's all right. But we really encourage you to do 2 other things. First, make dua. And second, share. Share what you know. Get the message out. And then if you're able to do something, then please visit our website. It's called Dawah Partners, and you'll become a partner with us. All right. Now, let's pick up where we left off, and we'll switch over now to St. Louis, Missouri, and we're going to be talking with Dr. Sultan. Dr. Sultan, we have some questions for you if you're able to do that.
Sure.
Okay, the first of the questions is, when you heard, I think you heard the 5 steps that Dr. Adil was talking about. Number one, he was talking about the Quran, and I'm sure that you've got some input on that. How important would you say the Quran is to the believers?
Well, is extremely important. Basically, what Quran is our creators talking to us. What can be more valuable and what could be more beneficial than our own creator talking to us?
That makes
Quran
sense. Yeah.
is full of advice, full of good advice, gives you do's and don'ts, and at the same time gives you all the rewards you will earn because of following Allah Ta'ala's commandments. So
okay,
it,
that
it, it,
makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate a different approach to looking at it. Now, number two, he spoke about the biography of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's called the Sirah of the Prophet. What would you comment on that? How important is that?
Here comes the biggest difference between Islam and other religions. All religions teach you got to do good, you don't tell lies, you don't harm other people, so on and so forth. But Quran and Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gives you practical demonstration of application of these principles through his life and the lives of his Sahabas, that how to implement those commandments into real practical life.
Okay. Now, to deal with what you just said, that we do keep in mind that these people lived 1,400 years ago. So how can any of that be applicable to our daily lives? This is a question that we see a lot. How would we respond to that?
Okay. Let me give you modern time example to put this point across. Let's say that principles of life, they're going to be the same, doing the right things. Right things are right, wrong things are wrong. Just because in the past something was right, it doesn't necessarily become wrong in this time as far as the moral values are concerned. So
okay, I think I have something that just popped in my mind. See if this makes sense. We could use the space capsule that just landed a couple days ago with these billionaires aboard, or the billionaire and his friends aboard there, and they went up into space, and I was reading at the time it was published, they were still going around the Earth. They had already been around the Earth 15 times, and I don't know how many more times they went around the Earth, and this was less than 2 days. So that would be my example to somebody who said, well, it's not relevant in these days, because at that time there was no such of a thing as going around the Earth like that. Nobody could do something like that. There wasn't any reason to say it. However, the Prophet ﷺ, he talked about something like this, and he said there will come a day when Muslims will see that they have a period of like daytime, but it will be 40 days. And there'll be a day which it's like 40 anywhere else. And there'll be a night that's like 40 anywhere else. Well, now we know, because I've been up there to Tromsø, Norway, and seen exactly what they're talking about. 40 days of darkness in the winter, and 40 days of summer the sun does never go down because they're so close to the North Pole. And what did he say about that? And the same relevance is to the ones who are going around and around and around on the Earth, because it said in the article there would be some religious problems, but then it mentioned a Jewish person who had gone up into space on Yom Kippur, on this very tour that we're just talking about now. But then previously in 2007, I think it was, that a Muslim who was from, I think, Malaysia had gone up as an astronaut, and it went into so much detail talking about how that the Malaysian Fiqh Council, the one that gives the rulings on different subjects, had put this all together for him, that all they had to do was wherever he took off from, then just measure the times that they are praying there in that location, and then he can continue his prayers. And he can pray sitting down. He doesn't have to kneel, because that's impossible when there's no gravity. But this was all taught at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and people didn't care about, like, what is he talking about? But they recorded it and passed it on. Now, 1,400 years later, we find exactly those things. Not a rough estimate, no, but right on target. Is there any other religion that you know of, Doctor, that has that?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
No, okay.
And just to give you, Sheikh, a beautiful example of the story of the Prophets and Sahaba. This is the first who introduced the Social Security and retirement in the entire humanity. This was the Khalifa Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. He was the second greatest Khalifa in Islam. He was making his daily rounds in the Medina market, Medina Munawwara. And he was just making sure everybody's doing well and so on. He saw an old man. He was going around and basically begging for help. So he came close to him and said, "Who are you, Sheikh? Who are you, sir?" So the old man said, "I'm a Jewish man. I ask people for charity because I want to fulfill my taxes to you guys, and I have to spend the rest on my kids." So what did the great Khalifa of Islam said? He was in so much pain when he heard that story. He said, "Ma ansafaka." Oh, you are a fair man. We took the taxes from you when you were young, and now we have disappointed you when you were old. So he took his hand, and he took this old Jewish man, and he took him to his house, and he fed him from whatever in his house. He sent to the Baytul Mal, which is like the treasury department, and said, "Give this man whatever he needs for him and his kids." And then he made him a monthly salary that would be enough for him and his kids to give him a dignified life and stop him from ever begging for money. And he dropped off the taxes forever. And then he went and said to give his orders to everybody in his category should get a monthly salary. That's like Social Security, to give all what they need based on their family size and based on expenditure and so on, and you drop off any taxes due. And then when people look around, where did he get this idea? Well, it was 1400 years ago again, and it was Umar ibn al-Khattab that we owe him the Social Security system. That everybody should learn about that. When they learn about all this, I think people really would be very appreciative of the humanitarian contributions that Islam.
I know I would be. I would be wonderfully happy if somebody would come here in California and set up something for Social Security like that. Because right now, if they take it out of my insurance, the insurance that I need from my Social Security, I have almost nothing. And from my wife's, she still has about $200 left over after they take her insurance out. And what do you think $200 a month will buy you here?
With the inflation going up and the prices going up, food and gas and everything. So it's good to put things in perspective and really appreciate this contribution that nobody had been talking about.
Well, what we were talking with Dr. Sultan is exactly the question. Well, okay, that was 1400 years ago. It's not applicable now. But I'm asking, when people say the Sharia, oh, this is evil, don't get Sharia law, don't mess that up with what we got here in America. And then I ask them, well, do you like this system that we have, the judicial system? They go like, what's that mean? Okay, the judge sits there with a gavel, and then you have 12 people who are regular citizens who are going to be in judgment along with the judge, and they have a final say of what is actually guilty or not guilty, and they can even have the influence to say what the punishment is. All right, now, these 12 people,
Sure.
and this is something we do here in America. You like that? And they say, yeah. You don't have anything like that in Islam, do you? And I say, no, actually, you got it from us. The Muslims are the first ones to establish this over 1,200 years ago. We were the ones who put that. I say we, not me, but
Muslim heritage.
Yes, exactly, the heritage. And you give me a good chance to give a promo for our Heritage Foundation. Guys, you can donate to Heritage Foundation and you're supporting our work.
It's called Estes Heritage Foundation.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and Estes comes from the word Ustes. If you know what Ustes mean, Estes or Estez, yeah, okay, that is, it's not Arabic. Did you know
That
that?
is Arabic.
No, it's not.
That's out of the
Actually,
respect.
it's a borrowed word, because if I ask you a question right now, what is the root? And you'd be like, what is the root? And there's no other words coming out of that root, because it is a borrowed word from the old Persian language, Farsi, Faris or Farsi. That's where it came from. It's also used very much in Turkish language. But anyway, so back to our subject. You came up with 5 very beautiful steps that I think all of us should be looking at to prevent this to overcome these overwhelming situations that we find ourselves in, the oppressive attitude that we feel like the whole world is closing in on us and we got nowhere to go, and so this is where people get involved in such things as extramarital affairs. They get involved in alcohol, they get involved in the tobacco and the drugs, and they even play around with crazy things and different religions and extremism, and even suicide. So those 5 things, remind us again, Doctor, just real quick before we go off the air. Just say them. 1.
Reading Quran, reading the story and the history of the prophets, including our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Sahaba and the companions. Number 3, applying all the knowledge, the knowledge that we have into actions. Number 4, to make dua and to prayer to God to help us and affirm our hearts on the straight path. Number 5, to hang around with good company that will get you closer to the Creator.
I think I'd like to ask you to make some dua right now for us before we go off the air. Doctor, can you do that, please?
Sure. I'm going to say it in Arabic and in English. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Oh Allah, please forgive our sins. Oh Allah, please purify our hearts. Oh Allah, please keep us on the straight path. Oh Allah, please keep our hearts united. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه الحمد لله رب العالمين.
MashaAllah. Dr. Sultan, any last words before we've only got 10 seconds, but please.
Guide us with
Guidance
TV.
MashaAllah.
You can say it, you can.
Yeah, let's talk about dawah partners. Okay. Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want dawah partners, and you can be my dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our dawah partner even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.